What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to Nintendo Open Air Podcast. This past week has been a tale of two topics. It was the best of times with the scheduled release of a Nintendo Direct. It was the worst of times when a typhoon hit and canceled the said Direct. It was the best of times when we finally got new information on cloud saves. It was the worst of times when we found out it was for most games. Just as Dickens said, it was the epic of belief. It was the epic of incredulity. And don't worry if you're saying what the Dickens is quoting of classic literature doing a Nintendo podcast, it will all be over shortly. So stick with us and find out if this is indeed the age of Nintendo wisdom or the age of Nintendo foolishness. Alright, of course, tonight we're going to start first of all with Nintendo Direct. Now, I just want to preface everything we say tonight to say our thoughts are with those who've suffered through the typhoon and earthquake in Japan. And we're all talking about Nintendo's bad decisions, nothing to do with those disasters. So hope things get better for you soon. All right.
I thought the direct was canceled due to the earthquake, not the typhoon.
Maybe it was the earthquake.
The earthquake in Hokkaido is the reason, out of respect for them, even though that's on the other side of Japan.
That's right. Well, my bad. So,
but the typhoon took something from Nintendo.
Indeed, it did. We'll be talking about that in a few minutes. So, the delayed Nintendo Direct, it was scheduled for last Thursday. It was canceled pretty much last minute after the earthquake. And as I had in my notes here from the earthquake, I don't know why I wrote typhoon. But anyway, some things still went on despite the cancellation of the Direct. Several developers that just sort of already had things in place and let it roll. I think we got 3 new games coming out for the Switch. We got the Megaman 11 demo. Civilization 6 was also announced, and Final Fantasy 15 Chibi Pocket Edition was also announced.
And I can totally hear them saying Mega Man 11 demo will be available after this Direct.
Yeah. And we've all played the demo now, right?
I haven't.
You haven't? Oh, wow.
No, Mega Man's dead to me, man. I was going through when I was loading up my classic mini.
Mm-hmm.
They're just so. I had to give Mega Man his own folder just because they're so damn many. Dude, how many other games were there 7 of on the original Nintendo?
Wasn't there 8?
Well, maybe there was.
And then the Super NES had X1 and 2.
Well, here's what I figured out. Actually, it was 6 on the original NES, and then 7. They called the first one on the Super Nintendo 7, and then decided that was stupid, and then the rest of them were X1, X2, or X2, X3.
C is clearly upset over the boss door animation, and thus is boycotting. I don't know if you guys heard that debacle. So, like, we live in the age where everybody on the internet has to be upset at something intensely for about an hour.
Right.
So the Mega Man 11 demo comes out, and in all the Mega Man games, if you jump through the boss door, when it scrolls over, you're still in the air, and you drop to the ground in the boss room. Well, in Mega Man 11...
in that way, since the first game, yes.
Yeah. In Mega Man 11, when you jump through the door, your character hits the ground, and then you go through the door. And
lame.
And wow. This has made the game unplayable for me. I don't know about you.
You know what? Here's what I will say as a mildly OCD person. That would irk the shit out of me, because that was one thing I do. Like the very first game, I would always jump through the door.
Yeah.
And
like a cool pose.
And it was part of exactly. And it was part of the mechanic, right? Because you could get hit going through the door. You could stuff could. While that animation was happening, you could get, because that's how terrible Mega Man was, how brutal they were. While you couldn't move or do anything in the game, you could still get, hit and take damage.
Well, luckily for us, there is a saving grace to this, because there is a message that pops up at the very beginning of the game that says that this is, early demo of the game and not necessarily representative of the final product. So,
like that warning they had to put in theaters for the silence in Last Jedi. Yeah.
It represents a game still in development. Final gameplay experience may vary. So that's probably smart of them to tack that on because.
No, Fortnite. They're just trying to make it more like Fortnite.
Megaman 11.
The endless demo.
Because everything in Fortnite is, maybe I'm thinking on the PC version. Like everything you log into, it says this is a pre-release.
Oh yeah, early access beta, which the Switch one does not have that message, but yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, other systems, which I think is weird. Switch is
it's becoming less weird. Like a lot of games on Steam are in quote unquote pre-release for like 2 years.
For years,
it's a game on Steam that people are buying for 2 years for $10 a pop or whatever, but it's still pre-release. It's still version 9.1 beta.
They could say, "Well, you're still playing an early one, so give us a second. Don't complain about what we did. It's still early." Yeah.
So
that said,
did you play the demo mode, and what did you think?
It solidified me not liking Mega Man still. Like that's one of those games that I've got Mega Man 2 on NES cartridge. I've got the Mega Man collection on GameCube. I've got the Mega Man collection on 3DS. And yet every time I play them, I just cannot enjoy them. Although the save states on Mega Man 2, like on the virtual console, makes it a little bit more tolerable for me. But yeah, even 2, which everyone says is the easiest one, I still don't really like. But in this one I got to, there's like a scene, maybe like the second part of the first level where you're getting like, it's one of those chase things. And I'm sure you probably made it there.
Yeah.
As well, and that's about where I was like, "Yeah, screw this." And Barry said the same thing. Like, he's like, "I got to that part, I died twice, and I just quit and never went back." So,
I played the first one. I played it. I beat it, and it was such a punishing experience. I never had any desire to ever go back and play another Mega Man game. But I did finish the first one, and I enjoyed it at the time, but more of it was something I just never wanted for the next 30 years of my life.
I mean, I always, it's one of those things I always look back fondly on. And then when I play them as an adult,
same.
Like, but like I said, it was different. There's a lot of movies like that as well, where you go back and you rewatch them through your grown-up eyes. Like, man, I can't believe I thought this was a classic.
I don't want to see Ice Pirates again. I really don't.
I saw that in the theater.
No, but I mean,
that was one of my first movies ever. That was one of the first movies I remember seeing in the theater. And
I've never heard anyone do it.
No, but I've also never really heard anybody reference that movie.
I've never heard of it until just a moment ago.
Yeah, that's one of those 80s classics that nobody talks about because it's not a classic.
Everybody at recess in probably 3rd grade, we all talked about that movie. Those of us, a lot of us hadn't seen it, but have you seen it as an adult?
I have not.
It would ruin it. I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would be terrible.
When I saw that in the theater, I would have been 4 years old.
So, holy crap.
So that's literally one of the first movies I remember seeing in the theater.
First movie I remember seeing in the theater was Bambi. And I'm pretty sure I still wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
One of the first movies I remember seeing in the theater was the Robin Williams Popeye.
Wow.
That was 80, I think. So,
I would have been 6.
Welcome to our movie podcast.
That's right. This is the movie segment.
Back in my day.
Have you seen a movie in the 80s in the theater? If so, let us know on our Twitter.
Are you that old?
I saw Ghostbusters and Goonies first run in the theater.
Hell yeah, I did too.
But anyway, yeah, and Megan, I do have early memories of running around my mom's house pretending I was Mega Man, like with a hand blaster, with the arm blaster and stuff like that, and thinking it was a cool thing at the time. But I guess I never realized. I don't remember complaining about how hard shit was when I was a kid.
Well, there wasn't an option back then. It's
I
like,
guess
this
you
is the
just
game you
accepted.
had. Yeah.
But I don't remember being like, man, that game is hard as hell. I'm not playing that anymore. I just I don't like that game.
Well, I will have to say I was surprised after hearing Mo and Barry say what a terrible experience they had. I actually played through the demo. I finished the demo. I took pictures to prove it. I enjoyed it. It was okay. It wasn't anything mind-blowing. It wasn't like super cool.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable.
I do think it looked good.
You played through the demo without a D-pad?
I just used the little arrow buttons down. I did not use the stick. I used the arrow buttons on the Joy-Con.
You're kidding me, dude.
The stick.
Really?
Maybe that was my. I used the stick on the Pro Controller. Maybe that was my downfall.
That's what I'm most curious about. Yeah, what's your review of using the buttons to play something as shitty hard as a Mega Man game?
It wasn't that bad. I actually
apparently better. He must be better at those kind of games than I am, because I didn't get to the boss fight.
Well, the problem I had is the new gears thing they introduced. Where you
it is a little tricky where you switch between the stuff and remembering which button does what.
Well, I wanted to do the slide thing, and I died the first time going through that maze because you had to slide across.
Yeah, I did too.
I couldn't slide. It's like, okay. And I just okay, I guess I'll die here because I was already too far gone. So I just watched myself die, and then I was able to do it the second time. And I also thought it was really odd how when you start up, it's like, would you like to learn how the double gear controls work? And it has like an endless demo, and then it's
I told it yes.
I did too.
Wow.
And then
it's like, are you ready to play the actual game?
After you beat the boss and you get the new weapon, it says, "Would you like to try how this new weapon works?" And it takes you back to the same thing. And it's like, okay.
And then it's like, demo's over.
Yeah, and then it says, "Thanks for playing.
Use this new weapon when you actually buy the game." I don't remember how soon that's coming out, but it must be soon if we've got a demo. But yeah, it looks good. It looks like a modern 2D version of a Mega Man game. But also, like, coming from the era of Mega Man 2 and I don't know that I played really any of the other ones as a kid, so like the slide mechanic I don't think was introduced until the third one.
Well, see, I played Mega Man 3 the most.
The dog mechanic came, I think, in the second one, right? Maybe. Or it was barely there. It might have been the third one, too.
Well, you had to rush coil, and then later on you got like the other modes where it's like a submarine and a jetpack.
Oh, yeah.
There's this whole Mega Man universe that you guys are compelling me to fire up my mini and go check these out now.
Well, check them out for about 5 minutes and tell us what you think.
My favorite...
You'll hate yourself for it.
I probably will.
I would suggest starting with the one that was released only in Japan. I don't remember if that was Mega Man 7 or 8.
Was Bass?
Wait a minute. Okay, so let's talk through the Mega Man series for me while we're on this subject. Because I know of 1 through 6 on the NES. I know of 7 on the Super NES, and then X, X2, and X3. And then there was 0 and the 2 Battle Networks on the Game Boy Advance.
And then there were the Game Boy Bass.
And then there was Mega Man and Bass.
Oh, I forgot about Mega Man and Bass. Thank you.
And then there was
Big Bass Fishing.
There were the Mega Man 9 and 10 were on the WiiWare games.
Oh yeah, they don't count.
And then there's Mega Man ZX, and then there's Mega Man 0, which were really hard, but I enjoyed those games. Those were on the Game Boy Advance. But on the game.
I think we found a closet Mega Man fan.
I think we totally did. We've never talked about Mega Man before, but oh man,
I love Mega Man.
Hiding it from us this whole time. I guess so.
Right. I always considered myself same thing. I always considered myself a fan. Like, I loved that first game. I played it to death. But then once that game was over, I just had no real desire to go back to it because that game was just so damn punishingly hard.
Well, see, I had the good fortune of playing Mega Man 2 first, and then going back and playing Mega Man 1. I think I may have played 2 and 3 before playing 1.
I think most people did. They said that Mega Man 1 was not a success.
Well, it had that weird box art, if nothing else.
Dude, that box art was so weird, and I found out that cartridge is missing, man. It's worth like $50 on eBay. That's one of the ones that's actually worth some money. And yeah, somebody swiped that one from me over the years. I probably traded it for something shitty. Sorry, but you were saying
the people who made it just liked it and were like, well, we're going to make a Mega Man 2 and then never make another Mega Man game since the first one was not well received. And then it turned out everyone loved the second one. And they were like, oh, I guess we'll make 1 billion more.
I think the second one is widely regarded as the best Mega Man game.
It's the one that the only one they put on the Mini.
It's like the easiest one as well, I think.
But do you guys know, is KJ Inafune have anything to do with Mega Man 11? Because I know he went off to do, what is that?
Favorite unopened Wii U game.
My favorite unopened Wii U game. But isn't he part of Inti Creates and no longer associated with Capcom?
Yeah, I have no idea if he had anything to do with the 11.
He's the creator of Mega Man, if for those that don't know. So I was just curious.
This is a serious Mega Man fan here.
Yeah.
I may have watched too much stuff. So we should move on from this before I get further embarrassed. If you're a closet Mega Man
pre-order Mega Man 11 with the Amiibo?
No, probably not. I will probably buy it when it goes on sale, maybe.
I have another question. Do we consider WiiWare retro at this point?
I would say so.
It's no longer available. So
it's what, 3 generations ago? No,
it's 2 generations ago. Yeah. And the Wii U was a stilted generation. We're almost kind of still on that generation. You know what I mean?
Well, I consider WiiWare to be connected with DSiWare. I kind of consider that to be in the same category.
Okay, sure, but the 3DS is still around. As Reggie says, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Speaking of which, by the way, there were some rumors that some of that WiiWare from Konami might see the light of day on Switch. There's been talk of the Gradius and Castlevania and Contra titles might possibly be coming.
Wait, there was a Gradius WiiWare? I didn't think that was.
Yeah,
I would be in favor of that. I would love to.
I had the Gradius one. Actually, I had them all. I had all.
What's it called?
Oh God, Gradius where? I don't remember.
Okay, I'm firing it up and seeing now, man.
But what are you firing?
Called Gradius.
I'm probably crazy. Gradius Rebirth. That sounds familiar.
Rebirth.
I probably picked that up.
Was the Contra one called Contra Rebirth?
I think they were all called Rebirth. Yeah, you're right.
I guess they didn't want to call them Afterbirth.
Oh, that's a different game.
Contra Afterbirth would be interesting.
Yeah, Rebirth is one of those
Castlevania,
Castlevania,
the Adventure Rebirth, and Contra Rebirth. So that'd be a nice 3-pack, I guess, as long as it wasn't $60. But I played through the Contra one, and
I think you're going to be right on both counts, man.
What?
A 3-pack, and it's going to be $60.
Yeah, I know. Only $20 a game.
That's one of the games I guess I kind of regret not picking up all of them.
On Wii they were $10 each, though, I think, if I remember right.
Well, maybe we can get them for like $30 or something. It wouldn't be bad. I would pay full retail for them.
But since the word WiiWare triggered me into and remembering that I saw somewhere, but there's so many. The internet has so many
rumors
that it's like, oh yeah, I did hear something about that.
Every Redditor is suddenly a valid source.
How about a WiiWare virtual console? When are we getting WiiWare on Switch? No more GameCube. We want WiiWare.
And I know there's DSi games that I probably missed as well, though I don't know of anyone begging for those. I did not own a Nintendo DSi. I owned a DS. But not
I remember, yeah, same here, but we got DSiWare on the 3DS. I picked up like one, and I don't remember what it was. Something crappy. Some crappy zombie shooter.
I think maybe I've picked up a couple. They're forgettable, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't There's probably one or two that are like there were a few I think that were sequels, just like on the Wii, that were sequels to legitimate series. But
there was a WarioWare
otherwise,
game, right? That was DS.
yeah, that we got for 1,000 platinum points back in the day when they actually gave something worth a damn for platinum points.
That would be excellent Club Nintendo rewards. Those WiiWare games.
Mm-hmm.
Having checked on a quick Google search, apparently Nintendo Life ran an article on this in January of this year, based on one tweet from one person. Konami rumor: they're going to bring their Rebirth trilogy to Switch, along with a new 4th game, and that was the last the world has heard of it. So, but it would make sense, though.
I know.
Oh wait, no. It looks like it got Nintendo Life redug this rumor up in September of this year. So
that's where you probably heard it from.
Yeah, but M2. I didn't realize M2 was the developer of those games.
Oh, really?
They do the Sega 3D stuff. By the way, I was playing Afterburner 2 on my 3DS this weekend. Looks great in 3D.
Oh, the Sega classics. Now those are beautiful. I can't. Yeah, I know you're a big fan of those too.
Yeah.
I even bought the cartridge version just to get the few extra cartridges.
I had thought about doing that, and then I was just like, man, I've bought so many of them already on 3DS. Like, I can't justify buying these to get Altered Beast.
I think I got it for $18 on Amazon, or even.
Yeah, I don't think it's one that's going to be. When I went to the video game store the other day, I was looking through. I'm always hoping to find there was like a Williams Pinball on 3DS, or I think that I always wanted to get, or Gottlieb Collection maybe. But
and it's expensive.
Madden for 3DS. It's just called Madden 3DS.
Yeah,
$40 used.
Well, I have.
Holy crap!
I haven't seen one of those in a long time. It's not available in the shop. It was retail only.
Yeah, and it was like really early days 3DS.
Have you checked on Snake Eater lately? Wasn't that the only Metal Gear Solid on 3DS?
Yeah, I remember that's got a demo. I remember the demo turned me off of that one.
Really?
I was just like, all this stealth. I've hated stealth ever since whatever Rainbow Six, or what was the Splinter Cell? Was that on 64 or was that was GameCube, wasn't it? And now it's on 3DS as well. The Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. I was just like, I can't handle stealth games.
I got it as part of a dollar bundle with I think like 5 other Tom Clancy games, but PC.
Yeah.
I think also the was it the Tales of the Abyss, which is the Tales series game for 3DS. I think it was a similar release. I think it was on the eShop, but they may have removed it. I don't remember the circumstances around that. Like, it was available for a short time, and then it was taken down.
Awesome. Don't forget about the amazing Spirit camera game. Where you use your camera to find spirits. Man, I think they missed out on not putting a Fatal Frame out on 3DS. But maybe we'll get one on... Maybe they'll take the Wii U one and port it over to Switch. Handheld only.
Add some new stuff to it.
What were we talking about?
Oh, we were talking about Mega Man 11. First, it got us off on movies, and then it got us off on WiiWare.
Yeah.
Anyway, so some of the other games mentioned, one of them was the Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, and this is something that Max sent to us. Max is not here with us right now, but something she pointed out and I thought was really interesting. It is launching on Switch as well as all the other platforms for the same price. For once, there is no Switch tax on a game on Switch, so that's a small miracle in and of itself.
I always consider the Switch tax, though, to be more of a physical thing when the physical game comes out. Because everybody else seems to get it out on cartridge for the same price as the digital, except on Switch. So when I think of the Switch tax, that's what I think about. But that's fine.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's been the cost of the memory cards, which hopefully are going down now in volume.
Yeah. You would hope so. They will after this holiday.
Now the Switch is doing okay. Yeah. It's doing all right. Have we seen recent numbers? Are they still on track for their
I
Under
don't.
20 million this year.
Mum
No.
is the word, I'm sure.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
last thing we saw was some predictions we talked about a few weeks ago that I recall seeing.
Yeah.
And before we go all the way into Final Fantasy Land, there is one other topic I wanted to bring up here. This was released on Nintendo's website. I don't know if it's supposed to be part of the Direct or if there was information coming in the Direct, but we do have a name for the Yoshi game coming in 2019. It's still coming in 2019. Yoshi's
Flippin' Island.
Oh, I wish it was Flippin' Island. Yoshi's Crafted World, which is possibly the lamest sounding game I could ever think of hearing about.
And this is another one that technically, I guess, should be filed in the rumor. Somebody claims they screen capped it off of Nintendo's website, and Nintendo has since removed it.
Still, though,
I believe
possible.
But yeah, it seems like I said. I'm still thinking there's going to be some sort of Labo integration.
Yeah, has to be.
I think Crafted World, I buy that. That sounds mundane and lame enough to be a Nintendo title. And it plugs into the Labo thing. I buy that. I think that's probably legit.
They've had that where Yoshi
Damn, it's going to be hard to make eggs out of cardboard.
Well, I was just thinking they've had all those previous generations of Yoshi games where it like turns into submarines or turns into different things.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if it'll tie into the vehicle kit where you can hit like a certain area and it's like, you can plug in a Labo now or whatever, plug into a Labo and play this mode.
Yeah, possibly.
I don't know.
Nintendo's official site says Yoshi for Nintendo Switch, and then in parentheses, working title.
Well, it would make sense that we get information from the Direct too, because it's been a very long time since we've had anything.
That's one I think everybody, if we had to put money down in Vegas, would have put money safe bet on Yoshi being seen this E3, and it was not.
Yeah, it's a rather strange year for it. So, and maybe they're waiting on
usually
Labo.
Showing a game at one E3 and then not the next one is reserved for something like Zelda.
Right. Not Yoshi, which is kind of a second tier game, as we've got.
It's like a Kirby that they crap out left and right all day long. Like, oh, there's a drought. Here, why don't you guys have 5 more Kirby and Yoshi games while you wait?
That's truth. That's the truth.
So I don't know how I missed Gradius Rebirth on my last pass through of the Wii channel, the Wii Shop channel, which you can't add credits to anymore. I do have 1,300 Wii
10?
Shop points.
Is it 1,000?
It's 10. It's 1,000, which basically means it's 13 because I don't.
Do you have a Contra one?
$13 because I don't have.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Gradius is the one I need. I'm a closet Gradius player. Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
If
We're all
played
coming
a
out of the
Gradius game, if you played a Gradius game, you've played this Gradius game.
Yeah.
But I remember them all being easy beats. The Contra one and the Gradius one anyway. But
I passed on these rebirths for some reason, and I don't know why. I don't remember, but for some reason I had looked at these and went, meh.
They all kicked me right in my nostalgia nuts. And I had to scoop them all up. Does that mean I spent $30?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
So wait, it's Castle. How was Castlevania Rebirth?
Awful. That is it's the Game Boy, the very first Game Boy one, Castlevania Adventure, but they remade it for Wii. So if you remember the one biggest aspect to me of that game is how slow you fucking move, like you're walking through quicksand. And they did not change that. They stayed historically accurate to it. So it's like upgraded graphics, but the gameplay is not updated. And it's just a slog. I never liked that game.
Nintendo Life gave it a 9 out of 10.
Well, of course. Nobody ever gives anything other than a 9 out of 10. Or an 8 or a 9. It's like that's why I've noticed a big story recently is I think Kotaku just got rid of their number rating systems, and there's been some other people that have gotten rid of, like I know
excuse me.
Oh my, Game Explain, like on YouTube, like they don't have numbers. They're just like liked it, loved it, gotta have it. Like they're so that's been a big debate this last couple weeks is, do games need scores anymore? And it's like it's hard to tell because they're like, you can't really, there's no reason to have a score other than to just be like, well, this must be a better game. It got a 9 and the other one got an 8. But I've noticed increasingly, like, they'll be like, this game sucks, it's the worst, it's grindy, its gameplay sucks, the jumping mechanics suck, 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like an 8 is a bad score now. And there really is only 8s, 9s, and 10s. Unless you're like an indie, then they can still shit on you.
Or if you're Gradius Rebirth, because they got a 6 out of 10.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So apparently maybe that's why I passed on it.
Maybe. How's Contra doing?
Contra, IGN gave it 8.2 out of 10.
Yeah, it was strong. I thought Contra was the best of the 3.
Yeah, let's
but
do.
I'm a Contra fan.
Metacritic gives it 76.
They're all short. They're all like a little mini experience.
$10. Gradius Rebirth got a 69. And Castlevania 78.
I feel like Castlevania, just the name gives it a score.
Yeah, a little bit. Same with Mario and Zelda. Yeah.
I think there are people who are fans of the Castlevania game on Game Boy, the Adventure, the first one, not Belmont's Revenge.
At least at the time, I had a couple friends that had
it
Castlevania
was a Castlevania
Adventure.
game, and it was on Game Boy. That they did something for it.
They were into it, yeah. Same way Super Mario Land, just the mechanics are weird. I've been playing it on the emulator.
I played that the other day on 3DS too, and it's not bad.
It's not bad. It's just once you get used to the fact that Mario weighs like 1,000 pounds and just drops like a rock,
and that fireballs.
Oh yeah, don't
definitely into the sky.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying too. But right, you know what I'm talking about. It's like if you step off something, like it's got like real human physics almost. No, not even like faster. Like you expect Mario to just splat on the ground.
I wonder why that didn't get that one should have got a WiiWare. That's ripe for a remaster.
Super Mario Land?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Super Mario Land games. They were different.
I've never played through the second one, but I have it. I just haven't actually played through it. But
kind of comparable to 3, right? Because that was what they were going for.
It looks good with the big sprites and stuff. Welcome to the Game Boy Podcast.
That's right.
Yeah, looking at and going through a lot of these old ROMs and stuff, you look at the early Game Boy games. They're very small, like in size, and the graphics are kind of simple and whatever. And it's the exact same hardware. Nintendo just had it out there for 10 years, and people
learn to get the most out of it.
Yeah, it's a real. You see this gradual kind of ramping up where you get stuff like Donkey Kong Land at the end. That's a friggin' Super Nintendo port, and doesn't look totally terrible.
And
that's about the best I can say for it. Yeah.
So speaking of ports and reeling us back into the topic list,
you drank a bottle of port before the podcast.
No. I was going to talk about the other Final Fantasy game making its way possibly to the Switch. And we do get news that Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, which was originally a GameCube game, is releasing next year in Japan. And, well, I should say it is confirmed for PlayStation 4 and Switch, but it's not confirmed for North America yet. So maybe we'll get to play that again. I know that's a game that I passed on back in the day, and I'm probably the only one here that would be excited to play that.
I think I remember at the time when it came out, people saying, well, that's not a real Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Why is it not a real Final Fantasy game?
Because it doesn't have a number after it.
Oh.
I'm assuming it might have different gameplay. I'm definitely not the one to ask about what makes a Final Fantasy game.
Constipation, slow, turn-based combat.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. I think it was a little looser. Not to continue with your analogy there. Oh wow! But anyway, I think
well played, sir.
Yeah, but yeah, it was more appealing to me. But that was back in the GameCube era, so I do not remember why I liked it back then and thought about it back then. But
cute anime looking characters.
I think I always wanted to play a Final Fantasy game, and I did finally pick up Final Fantasy IV on DS or 3DS and played that, and it was very much as Z described. So I don't know. I think it has its fans though, and I hope we do get a chance to play it.
But I think that came out around the same time as the real Final Fantasies were coming out on like what, PS2.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I remember my friends like, oh, I'm on disc 2 of Final Fantasy. And I'm like, you guys have to have multiple discs.
My buddy that worked at Blizzard, I remember when he was trying to get me to try Pokemon originally, before I let my wife talk me into it. He was telling me the best selling point he could come up with was, it puts me to sleep. It's so great. Half the time I wake up in the middle of the night with it still on my chest because I fell asleep in the middle of a battle.
I have that problem too.
Right. Oh. That's exactly, turn-based combat, man. It'll put you right to sleep. You got to get this game.
Oh, you were talking about turn-based combat.
No, I'm sorry. I'm still a subject or two behind.
But yeah, and this is also wait, is this the same as the Chibi thing, or that's something else?
That's something else. That's Final Fantasy 15.
And that's that's Japan only too, right? Please tell me it is.
I don't think so. I think it's already out. I don't know. I haven't checked into it.
What's with the Chibi head games?
Just so cute.
There's that many Asian girls in America now buying games?
There's that many Asian loving boys who buy Chibi stuff because it's so kawaii. I guess.
But I do believe that was a mobile game, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, and that's why it's coming to the Switch. And it's probably Chibi because they can't use the realistic sprites like you would normally find in a Final Fantasy game.
Fair enough.
So I think that's why. And that's why Chibi is a thing to begin with. I don't think we are equipped to answer that.
And girls play phone games.
And some guys play phone games too.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not the one that booted that pocket can.
Oh, that's true. No, and I have a pretty bad Clash Royale habit, so I can't say shit.
I would say Z has spent more money than both of us combined on mobile games.
I would say so as well.
What?
I've never played.
I've never spent anything on a mobile game.
No, I did. I did actually put. I think I put a couple bucks into Miitomo.
That's not bad.
So that I could get the. I was just shy of having enough coins to get the devil outfit, and I did throw him a few bones. But yeah.
Then you watched it come up 15 more times before the.
Yeah, and now it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's like I just threw that money in the garbage.
That's right.
Those bastards.
I've talked myself out of spending my 1,300 Wii points on Gradius Rebirth.
How much longer do you have? Do you have till next March to decide?
I think so.
No, is it till next March?
Or is it January?
I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was around the end of the year. Maybe I'm wrong, but
to be continued. By the way, everybody, this is your biannual reminder to use those Wii points.
That's right. If you've got them and you haven't used them, we've made some excellent suggestions for you tonight.
You use it or you lose it.
That's right.
That's what they say.
But there is another Final Fantasy related story on our topic list.
Another Skywalker. Sorry, that was Yoda.
That was Yoda, who is unrelated to Square Enix. So we heard about this a couple weeks ago. Square Enix and Tencent which you've probably heard of, who I think we've mentioned before on the
Every
podcast.
time you say Tencent, I think it's a rapper.
For
just a second.
Right.
It's like 50 Cent's kid.
Little brother, yeah. Right, because there was little Bow Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
But I don't think he had any relationship to Snoop Dogg whatsoever. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I think he was just he was affiliated. He just wasn't. I don't
Somehow,
think he was actually related. Yeah, I think he was Snoop's protege.
Okay.
We're down over
That's
here
right.
at the NOA podcast. But anyway.
That's right. We can talk about movies, we can talk about WiiWare, and we can talk about rap.
Yep.
So anyway, they're creating, Square Enix and Tencent are creating a strategic alliance and making a joint venture company to co-develop AAA games based on new IP, as well as licensing current IP. So,
Square Enix has made a deal with the devil.
Yeah, Tencent is an internet-based company. So my big thought was, is this MMO's coming out?
Well, remember, Tencent is the wholly owned subsidiary of the Chinese government.
Oh wow!
They're one of those, Chinese, government friendly. Well, every big Chinese company has close ties to the government, or they don't become a big Chinese company. So yeah, they're one of those. So that's because Clash Royale. They're Supercell. I think they were like a European company. They got bought by Tencent. So I don't give them money anymore. But yeah, so that's the other thing though, is that means they're developing games for China, is what that means.
Well, that's
for the Chinese market. Yeah, it's a huge market.
Yeah, and a lot of companies are trying to get in on that. I know Nintendo, there's been talks of different things going on there.
And there may very well be worldwide stuff, but I'm certain it's going to be Asia focused. But then most of Square Enix's stuff always kind of has been anyway. They've always been the JRPG company.
That's right. And it's one of the few companies we get games for on Switch, so.
That's true. They're trickling them out. We're not getting the big ones. We're getting the weird side ones, right?
Right.
Like the Crystal Chronicles or whatever, but we're not getting the main lines. Are we?
Didn't they also do Octopath?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's its own thing, so. And we had, what were the 3DS games that were, the name eludes me, that were really popular?
The Rhythm...
Did they do Rhythm Heaven as well?
Not Rhythm Heaven. They did the Final Fantasy.
But
Rhythm Heart, was it?
Or Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed those, or enjoyed the first one, which I bought. Even though I have no rhythm at all.
Oh, what about...
I was talking about Bravely Default.
Bravely Default, yeah, that's the one.
Mm. I forgot that was theirs. So yeah, why does Nintendo get all these weird, hey, we got some weird new IP we want to throw against the wall and see if it sticks. Let's put it on your console.
That's not bad though, because they're not graphically demanding like JRPGs and are not, you don't have to have a PS4 to run them. And
well, the newer ones are really pretty though.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is because they're the same game that they've been selling you for 30 years. And what people are playing these for is for the story. Because at least the people I know that play them, they're like watching a movie where they occasionally have to click stuff, or, you know what I mean? They occasionally have to move, but they're really just playing through a movie. So how pretty it is a big selling point.
I think they've done well though with the Switch, with giving it kind of a unique art style and getting around the graphical limitations where you don't notice them. I think.
Yeah, Octopath. I mean, say what we will about it. We've not played the main game, but none of us liked the first demo. At least I don't know if any of us played the second demo, but we all, after that first reveal of it, were like, I like the art style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thought it was cool looking, but I don't know.
It's kind of a guarantee too, because the Switch fans are hungry for a JRPG, and then they maybe want a Final Fantasy game, but they throw us something else, and it's that or nothing. So
they might be known.
People take it. Yeah,
Nintendo might be the RPG machine.
That's true.
Oh, if you like first-person shooters, go to PlayStation. If you like RPGs, Nintendo's got you.
Well, I would think here's the thing: is RPGs are the kind of games that you can be in a battle with somebody, take a few turns of a battle, or with a boss or whatever, and then pause it. JRPGs don't. Those are games you can pause at any moment. Those are the perfect mobile games.
Right.
Right?
Perfect
You can
for taking it out of the dock and taking it with you.
Yeah, like you're in the middle of anything or whatever, but those games don't require, you don't even have to pause those games because there's no action. It's always waiting for your input. So that's right. That's the perfect, if you have 30 seconds, you can do a couple more attacks in the battle you're in or whatever, right?
Right.
I think, yeah, to me, it is the perfect JRPG machine. But sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, in playing those on 3DS, I know I've had a game going where it's going to have a long enemy phase. Thinking of Fire Emblem or something, and I set up all the stuff to skip, and then I'll finish my turn, and then I'll go, maybe I need to go do something, put some laundry in, or run to the bathroom or something. I'll just leave it playing there, sitting there, and then I'll come back and pick it right back up, and I've not missed anything.
Yeah, or like when my buddy said he'd fall asleep playing Pokemon. As long as his 3DS didn't die overnight, then you just pick it back up the next morning and you're still sitting at the same place you were. Even if you're in the grass, you have to move to get a random encounter.
Right. And anyone who has tried to grind for a shiny will indeed get that. Or will appreciate that you can stop because you're playing it for hours.
I was grinding for a perfect Ditto one time, and yeah,
I've done that. Yeah, tried for perfect Ditto for a long time. I tried to get a Ditto with every nature, and I think I got down to 3 or 4 missing. So.
Nice.
I have no idea what. I think it was probably Pokemon Diamond, maybe. So they're there somewhere.
Speaking of Pokemon,
yeah, we could jump ahead to that. We did get one little bit of Pokemon news over this past week, and that was getting a special edition of the Switch. It's a bundle. It comes with special Joy-Cons, special Switch dock, special Switch itself, as well as 3 months of the NSO, Nintendo Switch Online, and the game. And
the ball.
It also comes with a ball?
Yeah, it's $400 or $399.
$359.90. It was 40,000 yen.
Oh, I thought it was $399.
But if you break it up and count it, though, it means there's no discount.
Yeah.
People
they did say Japan is going to have the option to buy the dock and the Joy-Con separately, but no word on US.
Well, here's another thing, and I'm sure we won't. I would buy a Pokemon dock if I could buy a separate, since I had to toss my Nyko dock. But those Joy-Con, man, as you guys know, I haven't been able to stop myself from picking up at least one of each color so far, and those are diarrhea colors. The yellow's okay, but that the Eevee, they should have come up with something. They should have made them red and white for Pokeball colors, or they just should have come up with something else. Colors of Pikachu and Eevee are not.
Yeah, they're not colors that I think are going to wow the age range that this is going to. However,
yeah, you want a brown Joy-Con, kiddo? Here you go. Here's the color of M&M they got rid of.
Or I guess I shouldn't call them nerds, but the Pokey kids,
right.
They love their, well, I don't know if they love their 2DS XL Pikachu edition. I don't know that necessarily flew off the shelves, but they've loved every other edition. And if Pokey people have held off this long on Switch, this is probably the one they're gonna buy.
Yep.
Yeah. Even if they're not looking forward to this game, they know there's another game coming.
It'll sell, but I guarantee you, just about everyone buying it is oh, why has it got to come with a brown one?
Yeah.
It's not even just flat brown. It's like a really
It
nasty
looks goldish to me.
It's
caramel color.
totally. It's the color. It's the color of baby poops before they start eating like real food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Delicious.
no. It's right. They took the tan M&Ms out of M&Ms. They don't have those
Yeah.
anymore.
One thing I
They were
did
that
think
color.
of as soon as I saw this was that it may lend some credibility to the blurry advertiser-looking image we saw last week
Yes.
of the Smash, because it had
Yeah.
a Smash dock and Joy-Con, I think.
That totally looks because the style of the dock looks
Yeah.
exactly like the Pikachu and Eevee dock.
Yeah.
Where it looks like it's just a decal on either side of it. And the controller, the fact that the Eevee and Pikachu ones come with the controllers, it's a very, very convincing fake by somebody who had inside information if it's not real. And those look like just gray controllers with like decal on them. So screw that.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Zelda Wii U, remember?
Yeah, that just had a decal on the gamepad.
Yeah.
That's the one and a half.
There was one other little bit of Pokemon news
I'm still
confirmed,
jealous.
and that was that we're getting that Surfing Pikachu is coming back. I don't know how that will work, or it was just a Japanese post, so I don't know for sure how that works, but it's Surfing Pikachu in the game, yay.
So that means there's tie-ins with the most hated, universally hated Pokemon game of all time, Ultra Sun and Moon.
Yep. Oh, they've already said there will be Pokemon that you can interact with and use them as vehicles. So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
I did want to briefly mention there was today a 4chan leak of some screenshots that are supposedly from the Nintendo Direct. So, grain of salt, but one of them was just a Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and it said time for a smashing announcement. So, I can believe that.
If there's not a Smash announcement in it of some type, even if it's minor, I would be shocked.
It's going to be another character.
I think the big one was a blurry screenshot of a new Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda: The Phantom Curse, available December 2018.
And that would probably go along with the Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks.
And probably 3DS.
No. Those were all heavily touch based, weren't they? Both of those games?
They could be 3DS. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a 3DS game. Oh.
I wouldn't, but do those games have a following? I thought those games weren't like Spirit Tracks doesn't have very good reviews. I don't know about Phantom Hourglass. I think that one fared better. I don't know, man. Oh, go ahead.
Speaking of those games and the Smash announcement, hasn't it already been confirmed that Zelda will be able to use the knight like that she could possess in Phantom Hourglass in Smash? That was in
That's
the previous
detail I must have missed. Okay.
But wasn't that in the previous Smash?
I didn't play Phantom Hourglass.
It wasn't in the Wii U one, I don't think.
Well. Are you sure?
No. Now I'm trying to think. There was some game where there's like a knight that rushes forward with like a sword.
Yeah, just like there's a slash, and then that was it.
Was that Smash?
That was from Spirit or from.
Okay.
Yeah,
we know the Spirit Train was there.
I don't know, man. But they've had how many Zelda games have they released on the 3DS now? They did the remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Mm-hmm.
They had Link Between Worlds.
Right.
They had that terrible Triforce Heroes.
Yes.
Is that it? That's still 4 Zelda games.
Yeah. But this looks, the picture looks legitimate. There's a logo with the Master Sword on the Z, which looks weird, but it does look like it's kind of an animated style.
Yeah, it looks like that
also lends credibility. I kind of believe this one. One of them, I don't know if the Mario screenshot that they were showing was supposed to be Mario Run or Super Mario Brothers, like the Super Mario Brothers Wii U. It's got Rosalina in it and Mario.
Yeah, it looked. Well, it's not Rosalina. It's Daisy.
Or Daisy, rather. Yeah, you're right.
It looks like Super Mario Wii U. One of those.
I still think that's something they'll offer as part of the online service. I don't think they're going to try to sell that, but maybe I'm wrong.
They could. And then oh, good.
I was going to say there was one other one.
Yeah, the final one, which is the most suspect looking of all of them because of the weird font to me. But it says 20 classic games, NES games. And it just has some of the ones that we, at the very bottom, we do see a Kirby logo and a Mega Man 2, like Kirby's Adventure and Mega Man 2 as part of the NES. I don't know if any of the other ones that they show haven't been announced yet. I think they'll add.
Everybody is picking random ones that were on the NES Classic and saying, "Hey, they're going to do that too." So like you said, that one's suspect.
I could believe that, but I mean, it looks real enough. It's taken off of a screen, but it could just be off of a computer screen. But maybe they did just take these off a computer screen. But it's the genius of 4chan. Anyone can post anything anonymously. But the Zelda one seems to be the most compelling to me. I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah. The rumor is that it will be coming out this Thursday, though there are still recovery efforts in Japan from natural disasters, as I should have said before. But so we don't know for sure. Nintendo has not given us a firm release date as of tonight. We're recording on Tuesday the 11th. So
yeah, and there was a yet another rumor mill where somebody had said that they had inside information that that it was going to be delayed anyway, and that the earthquake just ended up being like an excuse they could use, but that there is a big game announcement that they were going to delay the direct anyway so that they could fit that game announcement into the direct. So
right,
we'll see, but it was from a fairly credible source.
I don't buy that because there were other companies that drop game announcements kind of haphazardly around when that direct was supposed to happen. So if Nintendo pulled something like that, it was kind of dickish to the people they pulled it on. And it's not the first time that, remember there were devs that Nintendo announced in the direct, oh, this is launching first on Nintendo Switch, and then there were devs that tweeted out like, yeah, we weren't aware of that. Right.
Or exclusively on Nintendo Switch. Like, we never said it was exclusive. We'll find out in due time.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough, I think. Do you think this, while we're talking about the new direct, I will go ahead and ask the question, do you think we'll get any information on the Nintendo Switch Online?
I think so.
If not now, when?
Exactly.
They'll be like, and next week we're going to have a direct about the Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
I was going to say I always expected the Nintendo Switch Online to have its own direct, no games.
I did too.
Just the direct.
I fully expect it to be a direct where they announce at the end of the direct that the Switch Online service is live now.
It's going live, or at midnight tonight or something. But almost immediately, if not immediately. I would totally agree. And they still probably won't tell us shit about it.
Yeah.
So what does it do? Find out for yourself when it launches today.
And we still don't have anything on Switch 6.0, right?
No, that rumor still hasn't. We haven't heard anything, but I would say it's a safe bet that there's going to be probably a new firmware timed with the online, and probably will get its own version number.
I would imagine. Do we know? Does it pre-download firmware in the background that we're not necessarily aware of? Because I would be willing to bet that.
I think it might if you have it set to auto download.
I'd be willing to bet that we either already have a firmware update or are getting one very soon.
Oh, you mean that?
That'll be sitting waiting.
Well, supposedly the information about 6.0 that we had was data mined because Nintendo's servers have that version updated, already uploaded on their server side.
Okay.
I guess we should talk a little bit about that online.
Yeah, before we get there, we've got a couple more stories related to a couple of other things. I'm very tempted just to stop it. Max has joined us now and just find out the truth behind why Chibi characters exist. But perhaps we'll save that for another episode.
Does Max know?
No, Max is our expert, dude.
For what now?
Chibi characters are a
Chibi
thing.
head characters, dude. Why is that a thing? You must tell us.
They used to call them super deformed.
That was only
that's not PC anymore.
Wasn't that only in the Gundam universe?
I had a set of, or not a set, I had a Star Wars super deformed Boba Fett action figure at one point that that you could touch and it would talk, and it talked in the original voice before it got a New Zealand accent.
Yeah, what the hell with that, dude? That's yet another reson I hate the new Star Wars.
Could we just talk about Jango Fett for a minute? No.
Boba Fett used to sound cool. But anyway, sorry.
How many lines did he have in the original?
What if he doesn't survive?
Yeah,
he's worth a lot to me, mate.
He's worth a lot to me. G'day. Throw another Sarlacc on the barbie. All right. Continue.
So moving on from the Nintendo Open Air movie podcast, we will be talking about the other natural disaster that hit Japan that we mentioned earlier was Typhoon Chibi. And it did take something from Nintendo, as Mo said. It took the N right off of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Right off the building.
Get in or get out.
That's right.
You know, when I was a kid, my buddy had an Intellivision, and so when he asked his mom for a Nintendo, she came back afterwards with telling the story about how everyone in the store treated her like an idiot because she went in asking for an Nintendo. So she was just 30 years ahead of her time, or 35.
That's true.
That's right. Yeah.
Somebody in Japan has a very nice eBay item they can put up for sale.
Oh,
if they grabbed it.
No, see, that's
the difference with the culture.
In America, you're right. That would be gone in seconds.
Like, it's a piece of our Hollywood sign.
Yeah, nobody would touch it over there.
Or they would pick it up and carry it back to the place it fell from.
Go knock on the door.
Yeah.
I believe this belongs to you. We would like to play.
You know, about once a year, I fire up that commercial on YouTube just for fun because I enjoy watching it.
I think about that commercial. It's like at random times when something comes up.
Exactly.
We would like to play. That was great advertising right there.
That was the pinnacle of their marketing, man.
It was.
That commercial set was genius.
But the reason I bring this up, not only that the end was
bring those guys back for nostalgia.
Oh, like what they released
Switch commercial.
It hasn't been long enough yet.
That's like an American nod where they would have like a knock on the door and they'd open it up and there'd be those two guys with like Joy-Con, or maybe they would just do that as like a PS to a Super Bowl ad if they were an American company. Or it'd be like a Nintendo commercial and somebody knocks on the door and they open it up and it's those two guys holding Joy-Con and just waving.
That'd be genius, but it would have to be like, right, they got to wait until people who were 10 years old when the Wii was out are like in their late 20s.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like they're advertising Mario Kart 8 and there's kids sitting on a couch and they walk up and sit on each side of him and say, "We would like to play," and then they remove the Joy-Con from his Switch.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was
that one, Nintendo.
Yeah, that's free. This is from us to you. So there was something else interesting happen, and don't remember who brought this up. I think it was Z, and I'll just let them talk about it if they would like to, whoever that was, about the Nintendo DS wireless peripheral that came into use during this outage.
It wasn't. Yeah, there wasn't much to it. It was just that a little anecdote about some dude that still had the thing and went and knocked out the internet over there, or knocked out power. He was able to get on the internet with that little wireless rabbit ear unit plugged into his DS and actually send tweets and presumably let people know he was okay. But that's just a fun little story. That thing I had never heard of until I read that article.
Yeah, it reminds me almost of Sega Game Gear had, which I wanted so badly, had a TV antenna, which now would be worthless because of HD.
Yeah.
It basically turned your Game Gear into a Sony Watchman.
Yeah, I was so jealous of the kids that had that when I was a kid.
Well, like I said, once everything went HD, then you can't use the analog antenna. But yeah, it's sort of like if somebody had that and the storm took out their power, but they were still able to get the news or something because they had that. But yeah, what a peripheral.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Satellaview, one of those Japan-only things that is pretty epic.
Yeah.
That we never got.
Yeah, and it's, it seems like Japan those things sell better in Japan over here somehow.
I think it's a lower risk to put something out in Japan because they can make fewer of them.
Yeah.
As an initial run, Yeah, there's less people to you don't have a billion of them sitting on store shelves that nobody's buying like Amiibo. Oops.
Yep, definitely. All right, so we might as well move on to the second tale of the week. And that is probably the most shocking tale out of everything that's happened. Even
Max's cat is shocked.
Yeah. And kitty language, she said, wow, if you couldn't understand it. So Nintendo Switch Online Cloud saves. We finally got information about it. The biggest catch, kind of, yeah. More information than we had. But it will not support all games in order to ensure fair play. Most will offer it, but not all. And we have found out through people searching through Nintendo's website, and there are tags on there. There are certain games that have been confirmed that will not be working with it. That's Dark Souls Remastered, FIFA 2019, Pokemon Let's Go, and Splatoon 2. NBA 2K19 and Dead Cells was originally listed but have been removed for some reason. So, all those Splatoon hours you've put in, I know on most of our machines, that's probably one of the highest games on there.
Collecting all that gear.
And that's aimed right at me since I have all the gear now. But it will not be save.
I'm still shocked that's not stored on servers somewhere anyway, but this is Nintendo.
Yeah, I guess their thinking is, what if you are trying to get to X rank or something in Splatoon, you lose a game and you just do whatever you do, flip your magic switch to reload your save point back to where you can't play that game.
But that game happened on the server. It didn't happen on your console. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
the save data did. Yeah. Well, that's true too. Yeah, I don't know how that all works, but Nintendo's not confident that they can securely give you an accurate representation of ranks without somebody being able to cheat the system, so they're just not doing save data for that.
That's such a BS excuse.
Yeah.
And Pokemon, although this is a sort of spin-off game, that I'm assuming this will be also true for the mainline game that comes out next year.
Yeah, and it's probably because if you didn't catch that Pokemon, you might want to reset your save, and I'm sure Animal Crossing is screwed when that eventually hits Switch as well.
Yeah. Well, in Pokemon, that's a huge thing, is resetting to try to catch a shiny version of a Pokemon or to get good IVs. So,
well, also bear in mind there is the Pokebank. So that's an additional $5 a year charge. that maybe they want to monetize. You know what I mean? Maybe they want to keep people paying $5.
Still have not mentioned.
Yeah, how that dovetails in with the.
I guess
additional
maybe it won't be
$20 a year.
compatible with Eevee and Pikachu.
I
doubt it.
Yeah.
I kind of. If it's not compatible with the Pokebank, it's not a mainline Pokemon game.
Yeah.
I've noticed if you go to like the Wikia or whatever, it seems like most people are calling this a mainline Pokemon game, and it's not.
No.
Mhm.
It's just a spin-off game that works with Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
To me, it's no more of a mainline game than Pokemon Go is.
Yeah.
Jason will
Except that
play
it
for years.
is on a Nintendo console, so that makes it a little more of a mainline game.
And
Right.
it's getting its own Switch, and it's getting its own Joy-Con.
But to me, it's no different than if they released Pokemon Mystery Dungeon or Pokemon Ranger or any of the other spin-off games and give it its special Switch. It still doesn't make it a mainline game.
Man, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon for the GBA, that is a big-ass ROM. Just to mention it.
It's probably because it's procedurally generated and...
Well, that's the thing. If it's procedurally generated, why does it need to be such a
that's
big-ass ROM? Because it would seem like that would be smaller.
Maybe it's
something that's all pre-designed, but I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe the code for the whatever. Anyway.
I do want to, since we mentioned Splatoon 2,
yes,
I do want to mention there is, for all you people who we know are still out there playing it, a Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Splatoon 2 crossover event that will be happening.
What?
So dust off your Animal Crossing Pocket Camp and
re-download it.
And re-download it and get yourself some sweet Splatoon gear to put on your villagers that you're never going to look at, including it looks like you'll be able to put paint splats all over your town, and you get the shirts and the hats and stuff for your characters. The little Animal Crossing girl has squid ears, which I'm guessing are part of the hat.
Anyone enticed to replay Animal Crossing for that reason?
Well,
whatever
Thursday
that
at 2 a.m.
background
Eastern
was, it should be the answer to that.
He's like, oh, damn it, I'm going to have to go back in, aren't I?
No, I don't think so.
They said Splatoon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. I think that it was rumored earlier this week, and they've, I guess, finally confirmed it.
And there was, to tie in also with the Direct, was there not also supposedly new Splatoon 2 content that was going to be released alongside the Direct, and that was canceled?
Well, it wasn't necessarily new content. It was, I guess, this was another data mine thing where, from what I understand, Splatoon kind of presets the rotations. They upload the data into the servers of, what map is going to be happening on what day and what date the new gear for Grizzco.
Oh.
Like when that updates. And that was all set to update last week on the day of the Direct. And as soon as Nintendo announced that they weren't doing the Direct that day, all that stuff got changed on the server side to this Thursday. Today, if you're listening, the day this drops.
That's right.
So, so people are thinking that the Direct was just going to be delayed exactly a week. But I still think it's odd that at this point when we're recording, it's 2 days before that, and Nintendo hasn't said anything other than stay tuned and we'll tell you when we're going to read.
But they have done that Direct coming tomorrow, or Direct in a few hours.
Yeah, doing that a lot lately. Yeah.
And they did have that one Direct where you just woke up and there was a new Direct that got uploaded to YouTube at 6 a.m.
And as you guys have mentioned before, I don't think it's as much a marketing tactic as it is genuinely just they're doing this shit by the seat of their pants, and they don't know that they're going to have a Direct until the day before.
Or they just do it to get people talking about Nintendo all week.
Yeah, I think that's mostly it.
Maybe Japan just drops these decrees on the U.S. branch. You need to have a Direct. You need to announce this tomorrow. I don't know.
Good. Yeah. Still have not seen the new president in a direct. I don't know if this will change that. It would be interesting to.
Well, you might want to talk about Pokemon. He's familiar with it.
That's right. That's right. He'd be a perfect person to have on there.
That might have been his first order of business. He's like, first of all, we need to roll out a Pokemon Switch. Come on, guys. For me.
I wish it was. I wish it was the truth. So speaking of games getting another heavy blow games that we care about, there was another update that rolled out early this morning for Fortnite, and had a surprise in it for Switch owners. Video capture has now been disabled, and this is the quote from Epic, that they've been seeing a high rate of out-of-memory relevant crashes. And it says a significant amount of RAM. While they say this will fix the graphical issues, and it says a significant amount of RAM while also having a positive effect on overall performance across the board. So another step to try to fix the graphic problems, try to fix performance on the Switch. They seem confident this will do it.
Press F to pay respects. Yeah, I mean, that's a thing. We've talked about the little graphical things, and we know that they worked with Nintendo directly. And it's stupid as hell to me that this video recording thing isn't something inherently built into the Switch. But apparently it's not. It has to be built in on the game side somehow. And apparently it's very, very demanding. So while on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation, you can record complete games of Fortnite with relative ease, or save your game after you've played it. Even on Rocket League, I think is the only game I know of that has that feature for Switch, where after you've played a match, you can choose to save the entire match. But for some reason, Fortnite, I guess, can't handle 30 seconds on Switch.
That kind of replay is different than video, because what it's playing, because that replay plays within the game. So what it's really saving is just like where your car is at any given time and where the ball. Yeah, exactly. But right, we're also talking
Fortnite
about,
is also tracking 100 people rather than 6.
Yeah, true. Or
whatever.
But as you know, these are big, huge home consoles that go into your TV versus a tablet. So okay, I'll hand it to the big boys that they can capture video better than we can. But I'm not too worried about it. But then you guys are the ones that are posting all over Twitter your
all the
Fortnite
time
stuff.
My Twitter posts are going to be cut in half, if not more.
Yeah.
But they did mention, the developers did mention, there may be an option added later, much like Rocket League had their performance mode versus quality mode, where they might do something, for players who want to have the video feature and understand that they might be taking a hit on it.
I think Twitter said we've got these 3 people that are just posting this crap all day, every day, and we need to shut them down. What can you do for us? And Epic said, okay, we're gonna do this. That's my theory.
So we're being singled out.
And I got crickets for that theory. And not even Mo's actual cricket.
No, I think we're all just flabbergasted by that. You don't enjoy our Fortnite tweets?
I'm kidding. I like your Fortnite tweets. I actually click like on your Fortnite tweets.
We thank you for the support. We do have a lot of fun. We do have a lot of fun with the Fortnite tweets, with the various things that happen in game, because Fortnite's one of those games, things are happening all the time. Anytime you play with random players.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a compelling physical world.
Okay, so I think time to move on.
No, I'm just the physics. I'm sorry. I'm rambling nonsensically. I'm just saying the world has good physics, right? Stuff can happen because it's got good physics.
Right. Exactly.
That's what you want in a 3D shooter.
That's right.
That's
It's important.
what Breath of the Wild had.
That's why it took forever to climb a mountain. But anyway, so we got another news story here that was kind of interesting, and again, sort of ties into Fortnite here. We got some information on Nintendo's marketing spending. So this is a quote from the article. Once again, Nintendo takes the lead with an estimated $6.2 million spent on 11 different commercials that aired over 3,200 times. So
Now my big question is, did any of us see any of these commercials? Sorry, not to interrupt your flow there.
I did. If you watch Saturday or Sunday morning children's programming, Nickelodeon, Disney, I've seen Nintendo ads a few times.
I got some on YouTube too.
I've had them on YouTube, yeah.
But not that many.
Yeah, and we've seen the promoted ads for the Nintendo Switch online service on Twitter.
That's what I get all the time. Nintendo Switch Online, yeah. Because apparently they don't know that I've already read that tweet.
They sure know how to target an ad, don't they? They're like, these guys will definitely need an ad for Nintendo's online service. I can tell they're clueless about it.
Yeah, they need to be sold on it.
But the tie-in with Fortnite is that the biggest push for this ad campaign was an estimated 2.6 million was from Epic Games promoting multiple games for the Switch, including Fortnite.
What else is Epic promoting besides Fortnite?
That's what I don't know. So,
and I don't remember ever seeing a Fortnite and Switch commercial. Like, I think I've seen a couple Switch commercials, but not anything with Fortnite.
I think I have.
Yeah?
On YouTube and on Reddit. It's just a still ad. It's just like a picture of it.
Yeah.
You'd think Fortnite's advertising is kind of taken care of with everybody else doing it for them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Everyone posting on Twitter.
They got 15 million downloads on Android after, electing to bypass the Google Play Store. That didn't seem to hurt them at all.
And this week, I guess I'll just briefly mention, they did announce that in 2019, we're getting Fortnite Nerf blasters based on the guns in the game. And there's also a Fortnite Monopoly coming later this year where Boardwalk is now Tilted Towers.
Shark has been jumped, my friends.
It's all doomed.
Yeah, kind of like by the time that Rocket League Matchbox thing comes out, Rocket League will be done.
Yeah, I mean, can I briefly say, I did boot up Rocket League and looked at this Rocket Pass now that it's gone live. And it's like the first item is a car. And then like the 20th item or the 10th item is that same car with just a little like extra something like that. I don't know. They've added in a spoiler. And then tier 20 is that exact same car, but now there's a spoiler and like the engine block sticks up a little bit. And it's like, and it's right down the line. Like the second item you get is like a little thing that goes on your hood. And then the 12th item you get is that same thing on your hood, but now it's a little sparklier. And then the 23rd is the same item, but now it's sparklier and its lights change color. But it's like they did a battle pass, but so many of the things are the same item, just a better version of it. And they did it right down the line with tires and like decals. Like, so you'll have a tire and then now the tire's a different color.
So they're already out of ideas.
Yeah, basically it's like, I'm like half of their battle pass thing or rocket pass is obsolete because once you get that first car, you'll use it till you get the better version of that car and then you'll never use that car again. However, all these items are tradable. So you could go online and sell these to somebody who doesn't have it. Be like, here, you can have the basic version of the car since I don't want it now that I've got the better version of it. But I was just a little disappointed. Like,
oh, it doesn't upgrade your same car. It gives you a second car.
It gives you a
that's slightly
second
better
car
than the
that,
old one.
yeah. So the other thing is you'll have like, 4 or 5 of these in your inventory now that are almost identical. It was a little, disappointing. I expected there to be some really cool crap. I mean, I'm sure you'll get your $10 worth, but you also have to play a ton. And I know Barry had posted on Twitter that, because he did pick up the battle or the rocket pass, that like it's even more expensive to buy tiers than in Fortnite. I think it's 2 keys each, so that's $2 plus tax to go up each level if you want to buy tiers. And I think there's only 70 tiers to it, but like, with so many being derivative of other items, it just didn't really seem worth it. And then of course the last 10 tiers are all hidden. You can't see what they are until you get to them. But it does have some free tiers and stuff. And if you're somebody who plays as much as I used to play, it's probably worth it, I guess. But it's not doing the trick of dragging any of us lapsed players back into the game, really. So
No.
Which is probably what it needs to do. For
In fact, that makes me even less likely to want to go and join it.
But if you like the cool stuff, and I mean, $10 is $10. It's becoming like these subscriptions, like Netflix and Spotify. It's just another thing for you to pay $10 a month for.
Yeah.
These battle passes, or every 2 months, or whatever they are.
So speaking of money, and to go back on an earlier topic that we mentioned, we do have some new numbers this week for Pocket Camp. And it comes from Sensor Tower, and it's their overall revenue. They have hit $50 million globally in revenue, which is mind-blowing. And they give us a nice comparison. Pocket Camp did that in 289 days. Hard to believe that game's been out that long. And then Super Mario Run did it in 222 days, so not a lot of difference. And then Fire Emblem Heroes done it in 20 days. So, and we found out that 81% of the spending is indeed from Japan.
Yeah, no big surprise there.
Yeah.
The U.S. did not quite chip in as many as the others, but it made it, I guess. So I mean, it's paid for itself. It did what it needed to do. They made money.
That's right.
A lot of it.
A lot of money. It's amazing.
I don't know how much it costs to make the game, but less than that.
Definitely less than that.
It'll encourage them to keep making more mediocre mobile games for the foreseeable future.
That's right.
Maybe the next one can take 2 years to hit that mark.
All right. Well, we got some updates here on some other stories that we've followed for a while. And this is one that Mo was talking about that I wasn't aware of. And it's concerning electronic arts and loot boxes. Of course, we've talked about how in Europe, a lot of the small countries there are making it illegal to have loot boxes in games. And EA has finally stepped up to the plate and said, we're not removing loot boxes from our games, speaking directly to Belgium.
Yeah, and the Netherlands, I guess. Belgium and the Netherlands are the two that have. But yeah, they're playing a game of chicken. They're saying, we go ahead.
I was going to say this is over FIFA 2019.
Yeah,
coming out.
But it has a lot wider reaching implications for everybody. But yeah, I mean, previously, I can't remember who it was last week that had agreed and complied, but then it's all been really begrudging from these people because obviously they don't want to do it. But yeah, EA basically said we're not removing it, and if it goes to court, it goes to court because they believe that they have an angle that they can fight it in court and prove that it's not gambling. They say that by by disclosing what you could possibly win, that makes it not gambling. But like
Slot machines.
If you were playing blackjack and you bet $100 and you knew what you could win if you won that, I mean, I don't understand their. But I guess over there they had to do something with trading cards too, with trading cards not being gambling, because I guess the way that they do that is there's no, everything is common. There's no rare trading. They're not allowed to have rare trading cards over there. So everything, you have the same chance of getting any of the players or whatever. And they're probably football, soccer related cards or whatever. So they say as long as every item is the same rarity, it's not gambling, which I don't know. I say as long as there's one item that you would prefer over another.
Yeah. And that's down to personal preference, and you can't control that. So I totally agree. What a terrible, terrible company. Like that just like no, like I just what a terrible company. My God.
Yeah. And
like every other company has put out statements saying, okay, we're going to comply with this and blah 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 blah. They're like, nah, hell no.
We don't agree with it, but we will comply with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Like, I know one of the other companies basically sent out a thing saying, like, please write to your local government and tell them that you want to keep paying for loot boxes. You want to keep giving us money. But yeah, it's an interesting way to call. I don't know. I imagine they're probably going to get fined. But it did say, there was an article back in March when they were going through their whole Star Wars business about just the state of EA, and it was talking about how much money they had made. And I mean, they're in the billions every year. And it did mention that 67% of all their sales are digital. And of that 67%, 62 are from in-game purchases.
Wow.
So that means the other 5% are people actually buying the games digitally, and they're mobile games. So 62%, over half of their income, is from in-game purchases of loot boxes and battle passes and these cosmetic items. So it's like you can kind of see why they're putting up such a fight, but I still think they're doing okay. Even if they didn't have that income, it's just hand over fist.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, especially in these countries, but as Mo was saying, it is further than that.
Well, the thing is, especially for the FIFA games, these obviously do much better in Europe. This is the Madden of Europe, and Europe has a lot of people in it. So yeah, I mean that's a huge chunk of their money is coming from the FIFA game in Europe. So that's why they're going to fight it there, but I can't see them winning it, but we'll see. The US is still kind of undecided on it, but it's going to make the games worse because they're not balancing them out to make up for in the games that do have the lack of loot boxes. It's just like before you had to grind, and now you got to grind, and there's no other option.
Now that they've discovered the magic of loot boxes, they're designing games around it.
Yeah.
And it's
part of the mechanic.
It's a core part of the mechanic, and now if you take it out, it's like, oh well, this game sucks.
There was some game like a year ago that I can't remember which one it was. It came out and everyone hated it because of how bogged down the monetization was, and they were like, this is part of this game, and we believe this is the right way to go. And then like a year later, they just completely removed all loot boxes and made it free to play. And so, maybe we'll see that. I would love to see a return to that. Like I said, I'm always afraid Nintendo's going to start implementing this right about the time everybody else pulls it out of their games.
Yep.
No, because if Nintendo smells bad PR, they won't go near it. That's Nintendo's mantra. That's a positive thing about them. One of the few weird quirks that they have that's actually, I think, a good thing.
They couldn't get away from the Wii U fast enough.
And we should say, to be fair, as Mo mentioned, there are other companies like Blizzard and Valve and Take-Two that have all removed loot boxes from their games. So other companies are complying with the request.
When it's the law, it's the law. But I guess when you're a billion-dollar company and it's going to cost you, let's say something crazy. Let's pull a number like 500 million out of your ass to fight this. And then you look and see, well, we made $1 billion last year off of loot boxes. They're gambling. It's like, it's worth any amount of money we need to pay to secure this income coming in. So I'm sure they're going to fight like hell and possibly drag it out.
Yeah, but like most decent game companies are looking at this and saying long term, this is going to end up badly. And, EA obviously doesn't see it that way.
I think the real core of this argument is this is completely on the company's side. I've never, ever in my gaming life heard a consumer say, for the love of God, please let there be loot boxes. Please let there be battle passes. Please give me a way that I can keep paying money for this game that I've already bought. Like, there's we might like the little stuff that they give us that we paid for. But nobody's, if given a choice, I'm sure every one of us would say, I'd rather just be able to unlock that stuff through regular play of the game.
Yep.
Without paying an additional price. So
yeah.
They don't even bother trying to use the old excuse they used to use that, well, games are only $60, and if we took all the loot boxes and stuff, we'd have to charge $100 and something because the price of games hasn't gone up. But they don't even try that anymore. Now they're just like, this is how it is. So I just thought it was interesting. I know we've talked about it before, but that'll be a fun one to watch.
I hope it does bring some positive improvement, at least for Europe and hopefully globally for the rest of us. It's, like you said, nothing that any of us enjoys.
Lucky for us, FIFA 2019 is coming out, and NBA 2K19 just came out, and luckily the loot boxes and everything are still there for us. So.
If you love loot boxes, it is your time.
Yeah.
Enjoy them while you can.
That's about all I had for that one.
Well, I wanted to add one more little topic in here before we close, and it's another update. This is one that I find personally interesting. Hopefully you guys do as well. During the Asian Games, during, I guess, last week or sometime recently, the IOC president, which is the International Olympic Committee president, Thomas Bach, speaking to the Associated Press about having eSports as an Olympic game, as an official Olympic sport. And for the first time, they were actually a demonstration sport at the Asian Games. It's sort of a, this could be in the Olympics someday. So his quote was, so-called killer games, they, from our point of view, are contradictory to the Olympic values and cannot therefore be accepted. And of course, he's talking about games like Fortnite and Call of Duty, or any games where there's players killing other people. So
you think Splatoon 2 would be in that group?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess a direct competition shooter they would consider. You still splat people. Yeah. Now that said, why does that have to do with anything? Didn't we all immediately assume if there were going to be video games in the Olympics, it would be something like Tetris or Pac-Man?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the kind of belief though is that they're trying to stop video games as a whole because they believe if they let something in like Tetris or Pac-Man or Donkey Kong or anything that's puzzle games or something that are competitive that are not violent in any way, that eventually the violent games would get into because there's so much apart.
So whatever happened to drawing the line at a physical sport? Like I thought that was what the Olympics were. Since when? Like I'm missed. We're all gamers here, but I think we all agree that like video games are not an Olympic sport, right? We all agree, or does somebody disagree? Does somebody think they should be in the Olympics?
I personally do not think that they necessarily are, but I think also the Olympics is losing viewership every year.
So they're
This,
doing
it's like,
whatever they can.
so yeah, they got to stay relevant at this point because it's like,
Yeah, but it's a 1,000-year-old tradition or something, and if chess isn't in the Olympics, video games should not be in the Olympics.
Yeah, if bowling isn't, then
yeah. Wait a minute, has bowling ever been?
I don't know, but it's certainly more physical than any video game I've ever played.
Yeah,
and that's not saying much.
Yeah, I don't mean.
Has there ever been Olympic golf? Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, there is Olympic golf.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was added.
But I mean, that's again still a physical sport. But sorry, go ahead.
The other thing that people brought up was, I guess I thought about it like this: when the X Games type sports were added to the Winter Olympics and to the Summer Games, it kind of
skateboarding is being added to the Summer Games.
Yeah, it was in '96, I believe, and was removed, and I believe it's coming back. But the kind of concern was, is these people are representing your country, and is this the kind of people you want representing your country? And I know, like, I think maybe even Shaun White was on there saying some things that weren't exactly acceptable.
Bunch of hippie potheads.
Right, but are they saying that it's kind of an insult to gamers, but are gamers the people you want representing your country to the world?
No.
I'm sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Mo's experience with Rocket League, I think you agree, right, Mo?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Although Rocket League would be one of the games that might be on the table for an Olympic thing. Although the thing is, it's like, at what point do you draw the line where you've got people playing a video game of a sport at the Olympics, like, here we've got, maybe 1-2 Switch. This is their moment to shine. And they could have them draw.
The closest.
Or
Wii Sports. Yeah.
It looks like Germany's pulled away the milking championship in 1-2 Switch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, a parallel worldwide eSports event.
If you want it to be physical, they're going to have to break out the Nintendo products.
Yeah.
And get the Wiimotes out.
Well, or the Kinect, or the PlayStation Move.
Maybe they could play Mario and Sonic at the Olympics.
I just figured out why Let's Dance 2018 came out for Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
there
it.
There we go. Just Dance.
Yeah.
And the Sing game. Yep. Those are going to be at the Olympics, man. Watch.
The other thing is that I've wondered, there's lots of platforms to play games on. How do they choose one? You're going to have people that play. Maybe like you're good at Rocket League, but you only play on the PC, and Xbox is going to be the one in. Or something.
And there's a requirement. Like, any kid can theoretically grow up to be an Olympic sprinter. That's the whole point of the Olympics. Is these are all very basic things that anybody can theoretically grow up and have skill in. But if you don't grow up with at least enough money to have a video game console or whatever, you're just shit out of luck. So. No,
that kind of holds true for some other sports as well. I mean, if you remember the movie Cool Runnings and Jamaican bobsled team.
Yeah, how many times have you been bobsledding in your life? See?
Well, okay, but we're talking about a country versus just like a person.
How nice is your pole vaulting setup at home?
How many of us have actually ever played golf?
I've never played golf even.
Yeah.
Okay, well, fine.
Some of them are more specialized than others, but yeah,
that's true. And like there's shooting ones in the Winter Olympics, like cross country skiing and shooting.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell necessarily is going to?
How did this become a sport?
Yeah. No, understood. Or curling or whatever. Fine. But the original, a lot of those are later editions. That weird shit, skateboarding and snowboarding and whatever. But
I can at least see that those are physical. And when snowboarding got in,
Usain Bolt.
I thought skateboarding should have been in when snowboarding got in. I was like, if they put one in, they got to put the other.
Yeah,
the video games. I don't know. It is weird.
If you've never had a board game or a strategy game, or you know what I mean, if you've never had anything like that in the Olympics,
chess,
then there's no
Uno
rational justification for having a video game.
I'm surprised poker didn't get in when Hold'em was hot.
Now that said, though, we're 40 years into the video game revolution, roughly.
Yeah.
More so, a little bit. Since the Atari came out, 77? So that's 41 years ago. Like that's a generation of children that have grown up like with video games already well established as a thing. That's second generation kids growing up with, like, kids who grew up never knowing a world without video games have now had kids growing up never knowing a world without video games.
It is also, the one thing I think is weird about it is there's so many kinds of video games. If you're good at running or skiing, you're good at running or skiing. I might be able to kick your ass at Tetris, but you might be able to kick my ass at Madden or Call of Duty. It's like, how do you say, here's
pick?
A gold medal, you are best at video games?
It would have to have different sports.
Or they'd have to create a video game specific to make it a real shit show. Create a video game just for the Olympics that none of them have played before, and they just get dropped in.
That includes elements of like every
of all the different genres.
Yeah. But no, see, this is why they need to have a parallel Olympics, a parallel eSports Olympics.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
a whole series of games, RPGs, and they can rotate every year. Right? The best.
It's like the X games, but it's the V games.
Yeah, but everyone votes on the best JRPG, and this year it's Final Fantasy 27, and next year it's Final Fantasy 18.
Because it's like, how do you train 4 years in between for your video games?
I think you guys are touching on another thing here. Is esports has not reached that level of recognition. The X Games did reach that level, and I think that's why they were accepted into this Olympics. But esports, I think, is still a developing idea.
Well, and again, it's a different kind of thing. The X Games was basically an extension of regular sports.
Right.
This is something completely new and different that didn't exist prior to 45 years ago.
It may be the pessimist in me, but I no longer see the Olympics as a thing other than a business. The Olympics is a business, and they need to do whatever they need to do to stay relevant.
And an arguably corrupt one. Yeah.
That's why I'm
just
saying,
like the International Soccer League. Well, go ahead, Jason.
I was just saying maybe they don't see a financial benefit to esports, and I know that's something Japan is trying to push.
Unless it brings viewers, but I don't know. I mean, ESPN's not even really showing esports, are they?
I don't.
They have like news shows where they do highlights and stuff, but that's about it, I think.
Until the people at home are chanting the names of their favorite esports contestant.
Ninja. Oh.
Yeah. He's probably disqualified for this case of Ligma.
That's true.
But until they become a household name, I don't think they can hope to reach that level.
Yeah, until you can at least name one professional esporter.
I only know him because Nintendo retweets about him all the time.
Yeah.
Retweets. It's like, who is this person? Hungry Box? That's somebody.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recognize him in a lineup, but there's somebody.
How many of us watch esports again? When we're not being compelled to get free stuff.
We're that's like our parents listening to whatever we listened to growing up. It's like we've aged out of that generation.
Well, what was
in my day? You only watch people play video games when you're waiting your turn.
Exactly.
Well, I think about Mo's comment. He said to me one time about one of the top Rocket League players, and people were starting to say he's too old to be competitive Rocket League player, and he's like 22 or something.
Yeah, 22 or 23. They're like, is he too old?
Because this appeals to the 14 to 20 crowd. Yeah. Is that what it is?
Wow.
Is that who's watching? Yeah, I guess so. I guess there was any time in my life that I would think it was cool to watch. It would have been
I mean, if you really want to look at it, think about what movies are popular, think about what music is popular, and realize that the demographic
is tweens.
Is whatever, 5th graders to 21-year-olds are what drives a large chunk of the economy. That's why every movie is PG-13 and there's hardly any R-rated movies anymore. That's why Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys and
And it
Justin
gets younger
Bieber
and younger because
and
by
whoever
the
this
time
Korean pop group is now.
by the time you're in your mid-20s, you realize all that crap is stupid.
Yeah.
Move on.
But yeah, that's the demographic that drives the bucks.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But there is no Mario and Sonic at the Olympics this year unless they announce it in the draft.
Well, it's not an Olympic year. Well, it was an Olympic year, right?
Used to be.
I'm confused now.
The Olympics have already happened.
See? Nobody watched.
I watched them. I love the Olympics. I'm a closet Olympic fan.
Oh, just like Megaman.
Just like Megaman.
Really?
I'm
I totally
in my
missed
closet.
the Olympics this year. When was it?
Well, 2018 was Winter Olympics year, right?
Yep.
Yeah. February.
Oh. I didn't realize they did them that late.
And that's why they're considering letting video games in.
So this is a 2018 Olympics.
We're fragmented media these days.
The good news for you is now you can watch every event probably in clips on YouTube.
That's right. It was February 9th through the 25th of this year.
Oh, I forget.
Yongqing. Don't you remember those?
That's right. No, I watched some of it in. That's right. I watched some of it in that VR headset. I totally
loved
forgot.
it.
Yeah, obviously it was
a
very
lasting
memorable.
impression.
Yeah.
You'll treasure those memories.
Yeah, honestly, I spent more time like waiting for loading screens and shit than I actually did watching it. But it was cool once the video actually came up, and yeah, 3D ice skating. It was cool for about 2 minutes.
If you'd like to hear more of Z's impressions on the Olympics that he forgot, tune in next week.
I'll still be talking about them.
Yeah.
After I remind him when they were that they actually happened. Anyway.
What's my name again?
I think that just proves what I was saying about the Olympics being irrelevant. At least to our demographic. I don't know. I can't imagine the younger demographic has any
I know it's people like
more
my
love for it.
mom are the only people that still watch them anymore.
People who still remember when the Olympics meant something.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe they'll start putting Ninja and people like that on Wheaties boxes.
You remember Florence Griffith Joyner's ass, right?
No. I remember some Joiners, but it wasn't that one.
I'll keep my women like Flojo. No?
No.
That's Flojo. That was a reference to Florence Griffith Joyner.
Oh.
Who had a giant ass, if you Google her. She was a runner. She was I think she was a sprinter. I don't remember
something
exactly.
For you out there. If you like asses, check it out.
All right, before we get into totally inappropriate topics here, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as we've hit the very depths of video game, the video game world, I guess you would say. So, as always, if you want to give us a chat at us, hit us up on Twitter at NOA_podcast, right here on YouTube where we record. We're glad to hear comments from our fans. Of course, you can always listen in on Stitcher and iTunes, and eventually sometime watch us play just like Ninja on Twitch. So, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Party on.